I had a good long conversation with Mom yesterday, of course, and had the opportunity. It's funny, as you might expect from your local sports talk show host. I grew up in a sports family, and so here I am, Tom, wishing Mom a happy Mother's Day, and I'm asking her about. I'm sorry I can't be down there with her. I know every year they do. They go to this brunch at the club that they belong to, and then they're gonna maybe have a dinner or something like that. And sometimes I've been down there, other years I can't go. And so I was saying to her, what all are you gonna do? And not long after we got into that conversation, it turned into, do you think the Bolts are gonna win tonight? And it made me smile just thinking about how here I'm calling to wish her a happy Mother's Day, and she's asking me about the Lightning. And the answer was, yes, I do, Mom. And they did, going away. So that was nice. But that was where her head was at on Mother's Day.
Well, within 10 minutes of puck drop, you knew where that game was likely headed. Yeah. Likely. It's not always a sure thing, but by the middle of the second period, it was. It's funny. So my sisters, the three of them, usually, I don't know if they race to call Mom first for points. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they're competitive in that way. But the morning is usually kind of full, so I can't make the call in the morning, and that's fine by me. I'm not in a race here. I'd rather hear how the day went. Tell me about your day. So I waited until the first intermission of said Lightning game to give a call.
Oh, well into the evening.
Because okay, it's like 8 to noon is open for business. Then it's kind of nap time, nebulous from noon to 3 or 4, and then they're basically having dinner.
Right.
So I don't want to, So I called at 7:45. The steaks were just coming off the grill. I said, Mom,
they're partying.
What in the hell? This is a late dinner. What's going on here? She says, well, Tom, I don't have any children in my house. I can eat what I want.
Yeah. I'll eat at 9:30 if I feel like it.
Fair enough. Happy Mother's Day. She's like, I got to go. Bye. So it was like a 4-minute phone call.
Very happy, by the way, that they're not going the other route, which is what most people do. You get the blue plate special and you're eating by 5 p.m. So they're like, no, we'll eat at 9 o'clock at night while we're watching the hockey.
Right.
Good times.
Yeah. First intermission. The steaks are done. It's like, what?
So on today's show, Jameis Winston will join us. I interviewed Jameis on Friday afternoon, just after we got off the air. Enjoyed it. Always do. Appreciate his time and his candor. Jameis is not doing a lot of interviews right now. He's done a couple of things here or there, philanthropic things. And, of course, when he came to town to graduate from Florida State and get his degree in walk, he did, agree to a couple of little interviews where he sat and obviously went and saw Chip Baker over at the baseball stadium and hung out with him for Florida State related stuff. But the fact that we got him was greatly appreciated, and he joined us. So you'll hear that in the second hour of the show. You can watch the video. It's up on Warchant TV on YouTube there. So good to catch up with Jameis. He's in great spirits. I think when I talked to him off the air, he was just finishing a workout. Looks great. You'll see the video at 2:30. Ira normally joins us at 2:30 on Mondays. He's at Amelia Island, where the ACC coaches are. And this is the ACC meetings. We'll see what comes out of that. There's always intrigue regarding schedules, upcoming, future endeavors for the ACC, for the conference. In this case, the thought being the conversation centered around this burdensome contract that is really weighing everybody down. Obviously, it's not competitive compared to the Big Ten and the SEC, and that's disconcerting.
We'll see how much everybody toes the ACC line. Is the message going to be that the state of the ACC is as strong as it's ever been? I wonder. Or will there be some little passive-aggressive complaints coming out of maybe some different athletic departments via a coach or an athletic director?
Well, I think it's an interesting talking point, because I will tell you that I doubt they're at a place right now, coaches in the ACC who aspire to more, where they're happy. And they may not be accusatory, but they could speak to the realities of that situation. And that is not, I don't think, in any way turning your back on the conference. I don't think it's, if anything, it's the right thing to do. It's like when you're critical of somebody you absolutely adore, somebody you love, because you want them to be better or to do better or to make a good decision. I'm not saying a conference is the same as a human, but what I am saying is you can be blunt about this situation because the future of this conference is at stake. And you don't have to be in denial about that, nor do you have to look the other way and pretend it's not happening. In fact, you better not be doing that. So my thought is the new commissioner of the ACC And the coaches of the most powerful programs in this conference should address this head on right now and have open dialogue about what they're doing. There might be some things that you have to keep under wraps, obviously, especially if it involves further negotiations and a shift in that dynamic with your television partner or changes to that contract. Perhaps you would have to keep some of us in the dark about that. But honest dialogue and straightforward conversations about where are we going in the next 2 years at a time where the SEC and the Big Ten are blowing everybody out of the water. Last week, I had an opportunity to sit down with Sean Callahan and host a show for the Nebraska site, Husker Online. And I was just serving as a driver there. I'll be doing more of that in the coming months, I think, guys. And I'll alert you to when we do these things. I enjoy this. It's an opportunity to do work with other programs and to get insight on what their fans and their coaches and those that cover those teams think. And so I just basically, again, perform as the driver. But it gives me a chance also to exercise a different muscle. So I have to, before hosting those shows, I'm reading everything I can about Nebraska's offseason or whomever I'm doing the show with. What's their transfer portal situation like? What's their fan base think? In Nebraska's case, they had some NCAA sanctions come down. Needed to learn all about what was at the root of that. But in the course of that conversation, here's why I bring it up. He brought up how excited they were for the Big Ten meetings and the coaches being there last week because they're going to announce a massive contract any day to show further just how rich and richer they're about to be. So there is no grave concern for the programs in that conference. The opposite is true of those that are in this conference, where that is of chief concern for all involved. Clemson has expressed this. I think that Mike Norvell and Florida State ought to express this. Any of the power brokers in this conference that have the kind of cachet that we associate with big-time college football ought to come. I say this aggressively, but let's get this conversation started about what are we going to do, what is possible for us to do, what can be salvaged, what can be gained, what can be won, what is the timeline for these events. I'm hoping Ira, who is there at Amelia Island right now, covering it for Warchant.com, is able to elicit some sort of talking point. Now, coaches may choose not to, like you say. They may choose to deflect. But if they decide to have an honest moment, they'll certainly address their concerns about where the ACC's at by way of comparison to the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, those two conferences are in the grand ballroom, and we're in the
lobby.
We're in the boiler room.
Yeah,
that's where we convene our meetings. We're all sweating profusely.
It's the Titanic. We're down at the bottom level.
I feel like it's a fair question to open up too. If we said it's a 5-year futures bet, you're on your favorite app, and it's does the ACC exist in 2027? And you had a yes and a no. Would the no be plus 1,000? Would it be plus 350? Because I feel like it's not plus 1,000. I don't think it's 10-1 that the ACC doesn't exist 5 years from now. I think it might be 3-1, might be 4-1. It's not crazy to think. This shift that's happening before our eyes right now.
It's seismic, but I don't think that you're going to see the dissolvement of the ACC or the Pac-12 or the Big 12, even with the loss of Oklahoma and Texas, who's in a more desperate situation, I think. They've been riddled with injury if they were a person, right? Like you're doubting their comeback on the diamond or whatever it might be. But I don't think that it's completely muted. I think they have they have an opportunity to move forward. It'll look very different.
To me, I think if it still exists, like 10 years from now, I feel like it might be even money either way, right? It's like plus 100, minus 100, whatever you want to call it. It's even money that yes or no, the ACC exists as it's currently known, the Atlantic Coast Conference. In 5 years' time, if it still does, then we're basically the American. Unless something else happens, we're basically the American at that point in terms of infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Because everybody else is going to have palatial settings, support staffs that number in the dozens for all sports, not just football. And they're going to have the windfall of the profits. And ACC programs, unless they're flush with cash from their booster base or alumni base or NIL base, are just going to have to choose the 2 or 3 that they really like. And those are the ones that they're going to go all out for, compete with on a bigger stage, and then the rest of them fall by the wayside. While the SEC, all of those schools and all the Big Ten schools are basically, it's two conferences competing for the Capital One Cup, which is what's the best athletic department, what's the most successful athletic department. I just can't see a world in which the ACC 5 years from now has a ton of schools competing for an athletic department-wide successful venture like the Capital One Cup.
In the chat, James B notes that Jim Phillips, basically it's his way of saying that Jim Phillips hasn't done anything. I don't think he's John Swofford 2.0, who flew the flag for the ACC and with great pride did so. And I think Jim Phillips inherited or took on in getting this job a really difficult task. And I don't think he's the kind of guy who's prepared to say much about the future of the ACC without something concrete in place. So I think it's going to be quiet until it's not. And then we're going to hear about a major undertaking. And I don't mean that it's necessarily going to be a great thing for the ACC or a terrible thing for the ACC. I don't know. I'm really anxious for us to get to Charlotte. I'm very, very anxious this year in a way I haven't been for a very long time. This is an exciting year to get up to Charlotte for the ACC kickoff when we go in July.
I think for the football teams it is, but just watching him speak last year on a lot of big topics, I mean,
he couldn't say anything.
He's a politician. So
he has to be.
He's good about that. So I don't know what he could offer this year. Like basically the thing that he was begging to tell you and he was hinting. I remember when we were doing the radio hits, I was calling in from Charlotte. He was hinting that Xfinity is going to join the ACC. It's just a matter of they've got to get all their I's dotted and T's crossed. Like he was trying to tell you, but he couldn't tell you that deal was going to happen. In this case, like the Swofford thing is interesting because we shouldn't like him. We shouldn't. But if you're a fan of the ACC and you want to continue to make sweater vests for the Carolinas and the wine and cheese crowd, then he helped it survive. Like he did his job.
Well, yeah,
he kept it afloat.
To do right, yeah, at that time too. And again, you and I have bickered back and forth on this before. He did what he could do and had to do in the moment, and those schools had to acquiesce because they did not come from a place of leverage. We were not in a position of power.
I think we were. That's where we disagree is how much leverage we actually had in that moment.
Yeah.
But I mean, if his mandate was to make sure the ACC doesn't fold, he succeeded. With Phillips, what's interesting is you hope that his connections in the back room with the Big Ten somehow allows us to come along for the ride. I just don't know how that actually works with TV deals.
You mean the ACC?
Yes, that the ACC comes along for the ride because he's got so many Big Ten connections that maybe he can power play the ACC into some sort of combo deal more than a scheduling alliance. But I don't know. I don't know if the Big Ten's willing to share money with another conference just because they like Jim Phillips.
Yeah, well, they don't. I don't think so either. I would argue, and we've been waiting on this moment for a while, all of the conferences that aren't the Big Ten or the SEC, so whether it is the ACC, the Big 12, or the Pac-12, the other Power 5 conferences, we're just waiting to find out which of the groups in said conferences are getting plucked to go to the super conference that is someday going to make up the top tier of college football with a mega television contract. We're waiting on that. What is that, 60 teams? How many teams is that? Is that 40 teams? Is that 80 teams? Is it somewhere in between? We don't know. And I think it's the lifeline. It is the life raft for Florida State financially. It's the thing that is going to save us long term. Certainly not going to be relying on this conference to kick down the door, I don't think.
Right. Yeah. And Florida State, what they're trying to do right now is
survive.
It's almost like going to you're seeing friends. You've got a standing vacation you go on with your boys or whatever every year. And now you're turning 40. In the last 2 or 3 years, Florida State's been getting plump. You know, they look like, oh, man, are they depressed? What's going on with Florida State? And then this year at the meetings, they're going to be in a lot better shape. They're like, oh, they're working out.
Yeah,
what's the end game?
Together,
Is the band still on the finger? Are they still married? Or what are they doing? Are they shopping themselves?
Back on the market?
What's going on here? Looks like, do they have a health scare? Because they look a lot healthier, like alarmingly so. That's what we're trying to do.
What we have to worry about individually and that we continue to work on is whether or not Florida State is in a position to better themselves in a way that they are still wanted, the way that the last 40 years would have suggested that they are wanted.
Got to hit the gym
elsewhere. They have got to remain a program of immense cachet, right? And the longer, see the aforementioned Nebraska Cornhuskers, the longer you stay down, the easier it is to forget that You were once striking, but are no more. Is it Kirstie Alley?
I was trying to think of an example. I was racking my brain.
You like that one?
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
There was the time and place where you're like, that's impressive.
And she had her mini midlife bounce back for like 2 years, and then it's gone.
Off a cliff.
And it's gone.
Off a cliff. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
When I get home from work, I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain Pools and Spas to put my pool in the back. I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up the fun when I want to.
Truckloads of new and used Caldera and Hot Spring Spas are available now at Swain Pools and Spas. Don't wait. Get to Swain Pools and browse the best inventory to find the spa of your dreams. These won't last long, so come see us today. Just look for the huge sign on Tharp Street or call 386-7113 for Swain Pools and Spas.
I know what you're thinking right now. Where can I find a place to get my car fixed and also check out some awesome new hot tubs and spas while I wait? Well, you're in luck. Because when you bring your car or truck in to get serviced at Tallahassee Car Care, it's under the same roof as Swain Pools and Spas for tires, brakes, bodies, tune-ups, oil changes, and all the service you need to get back on the road. Choose the certified technicians at Tallahassee Car Care. Drop by our shop on Tharp Street or visit online at TallahasseeCarCare.com.
Matt, when you think of a successful Southern cookout, what do you think of first?
The food, of course.
The food, but you got to think about the food prep. And Hearth and Patio has thought about that with their awesome grills.
What kind of grills?
Fire Magic, Broil Master, Blaze Grills, Kamado Joe. Matt, they got it all.
Wow.
Custom outdoor kitchens. Create an outdoor cooking space.
You'll be the envy of your neighborhood.
You will be the envy of your neighborhood, and you'll make a lot of people jealous. That's because you called Hearth and Patio at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit Hearth and Patio online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
It's a backyard barbecue party. Wesley Holcomb's the number one more time.
850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. The Hearth and Patio, they not only keep the home fires burning, Hearth and Patio will elevate your grilling game.
Nice.
Nice indeed.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
us always. Bob is listening and watching all at the same time. He's watching Price is Right and listening to the show. And Price is Right never gets old. Always like the Price is Right. Also, Mike.
You okay with Drew as a host?
I mean, you're never good. Bob Barker was the guy, obviously, forever. But
there's a contingent of people who believe it's an improvement. I disagree. I don't think it's an improvement. He's not bad, but I don't know that it's an improvement.
I just think nostalgia probably has the best of us. I mean, we grew up for the longest. I mean, Bob hosted that show for freaking 50 years or whatever. I mean,
he had black hair in the beginning.
Yes.
I only knew him as the white-haired guy.
Yeah, so who knows? Apparently, behind the scenes, he wasn't the greatest guy in the world either, but he was very good at what he did. Very good at what he did.
You could smell him through the TV, too. There's a lot of cologne on that dude.
What's going on here, Bob? But that said, I always thought, first of all, if you could get the gig as a game show host, if you're affable and reasonably quick, it's the easiest job in the world. And those guys make millions of dollars a year. To be really a schlep who just kind of, offhanded, average-ass jokes. Let's facilitate one part of the game show to the next. Not hard.
No. The total runtime is like 21 minutes for that.
It's a really easy gig for the money.
Like for Wheel of Fortune, Pat Sajak. That's of the game shows, Trebek had it the hardest, right? Because you got to keep going. It's about you. You're almost the star. For Sajak, he's like, yeah, spin the wheel, tell me a letter.
And he's mailed it in for 20 years. He doesn't care at all. He's like, oh, well, what a shame. Okay. And there's always that awkward give and take when the whole thing where you have to ask people what they do, where they're from, and they just kind of look at each other. And that's the one time he gets to improvise. And a lot of times you're like, oh, it's passed you by, Pat. There's nothing there.
That's also kind of like some of the phone calls we used to be on at work. Where it's like, that's great, pal. It's like, well, I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Why would you respond? That's great. I didn't say anything.
Because you weren't listening to a word I said.
It's not great.
You weren't listening to a word I said.
I said bad news. Well, that's great.
We began the show, incidentally, kind of talking a little bit about where the ACC's at, and Ira's at the ACC meetings right now in Amelia Island, and so he's not going to join us today. In place of Ira, we'll have my interview with Jameis Winston, and I look forward to you guys getting a chance to hear that. Catching up with Jameis was great, but also I wanted to say that in terms of news and in terms of the excitement surrounding what is now the lifeblood for rebuilding programs, and that is the transfer portal. Well, it is sleepy.
It's not sleepy.
It's sleepy.
We let it pass 80% of the time now because it's all we talk about. I mean, we could do the redundant joke thing if you want.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the activity in the portal. There's nothing.
Oh, okay.
It's sleepy. I mean, the only guy that I care that we get right now is Dimitri Emmanuel, the offensive lineman. Okay. I mean, he was with Atkins at Charlotte, so if he likes him, and I looked at him, I went and looked it up. I mean, this is what I've had to sink to now. I went and looked him up.
You went and looked it up.
I did. I want to see could he play, because while we've done a very good job in the portal, there've been a couple of guys where you're like, what the hell was that? Why'd you bring him in? So a couple of guys, not on the offensive line, but like. I have to bring it up every time, but Cushney, like the second I saw him, he's not much bigger than Bryce. I'm like, what are we bringing children out here for to play defensive end? Stop doing this. So to anybody who's just not of any value to you, don't do that. Don't do that. So I wanted to see.
The other thing is you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face here, because graduates can still enter the portal, like, semester graduates. And Florida's semester ends a little bit earlier than maybe someplace in like South Bend. Maybe somebody else wants to get out of the dump of a town and they want to come on down here, whatever it is. But different states have different times. So maybe June, there might be a new crop of people who are 1 year to play, true graduate transfers that this portal thing would never have applied to anyway. Same rules.
Right. Well, bottom line is, I mean, we got all geared up and excited, and we had good reason to get geared up and excited. And that situation didn't work out. And it's devastating because it doesn't appear on the surface right now. I mean, I'm looking. I'm scouring, much the way they are, Tom, out of sheer desperation. Offensive lineman. whenever we host like a junior college DB like we did, I don't even pay attention. I don't care about that. We got 457 defensive backs. We need people that can block. So I got it. Oh, well, who's going to play on the other side? Debate all that. We got to get some linemen. So that's what I'm looking at primarily. I don't dive deep into defensive backs. I'm looking at linemen. Slim pickings out there. So if you got somebody who can serve, maybe not as a starter. I mean, they had the guy they wanted to be the starter. That didn't work out. If they have somebody that will provide legitimate quality depth.
Oh, my goodness. The standard is moving. We were looking for a starter.
He ain't out there. He's not out there. He's
this
not
kid
there.
Might be, I don't know, as a right guard. Maybe he solves your guard issue, and then you got Darius and Bless, at right tackle. That could help.
Well, and Bless turned out to be physically much better than we anticipated. So, I mean, listen, we need to add. There's no doubt about that. We've got to add, and I continue to cross my fingers. I think I was like everybody else in a weird way. I was, this last 2 weeks, I was kind of like, get to that point. Let's go. Let's see some names. Let's go. Because it's been, I wouldn't say a veritable who's who, but there have been a lot of names and potential starters and players that you feel strongly about and opportunities to try to cash something in. And then it was kind of a whole lot of grand opening, grand closing feel to this latest round where you're kind of looking and going, I don't know. I don't think I'd take that, dude.
Nothing outstanding.
Not a lot. No, got to get better. Yeah. The kid from South Carolina, the lineman from South Carolina. So, I mean,
I'm sticking with the Charlotte kid.
I'm sticking with that's me personally. I'm looking at those guys. I'm like, that guy's a fat body who can't play. This kid here looks like he can play a little bit, the kid from Charlotte. So, okay, let's look at him. Because we're thinking what? 5, 6 positions available, maybe? I think that's right. I think we're at 80 because you had another kid get DQ'd medically.
Yeah, it depends on if maybe Woody qualifies in the summer, and then if the Destin Hill
unicorn,
the unicorn arrives. Yes, I mean you could be 4 to 5 or maybe 6.
Could be less if those two.
That's 4 probably if those two.
Yeah,
can make it. Yeah,
man,
4 is enough though. Clearly, the
2's enough if you get 2 starting offensive linemen. I mean, I'll take that. I'll live with everything else. I'd like some depth at linebacker.
There it is.
You may want a defensive end, admittedly. I would really like a wide receiver. Not looking good. Out there.
At the pressure point of linebacker and defensive end, though, I'd want linebacker. I think they're going to be all right. I really do.
They're going to be okay at defensive end.
It's just if Tatum gets hurt, ouch. Big ouch.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And listen, this may very well be. Let me just say this. So you go all the way back to Bless Harris, and you go all the way back to Caden Lyles, and those are the 2 that we brought in, right? And on the offensive line. And Bless Harris in the spring, we were like, okay, all right, feel good about that. Caden Lyles is still a wait and see. I don't know. Could be great. Could turn out to have been an outstanding addition. Certainly, you bring in an offensive lineman from Wisconsin, you'd like to believe the upside is there. He just did not participate a lot in spring. He's out there. Looked like he was getting healthier, but they just did not rush it. And that could be by choice, and that is fine. I got no problem with that, especially if you're recovering and learning a new offense. That's fine. Those dual factors could very well lead to why he didn't play a lot, and I got zero problem with that. Could very well be we get out there in the fall, you're like, okay, there it is. That's and then maybe you have an answer there. You're okay. But because we didn't see Caden Lyles play a lot, if he's not an answer, if he's not a starter, man, you are very thin.
So of the days that he was participating in both individual and team drills, and it was not an insignificant amount of camp that he was participating. There were some things that, like, I think ideally they want to do some things with center that he just won't be able to do. Like, for example, they like to pull. And it doesn't matter what position. You could be a tackle, guard, center. Does not matter in this line. They want to create angles, and so you don't know who is the man in motion. I don't know that that's his game. But what I did see was that raw strength from the ground up that allows him to combo block, get up to the second level. He can climb in a straight line. No problem. He can get to that second level.
He's not fleet of foot.
Right. But he's not he's also not fleet of foot to pull. I think he's quick enough to get to the second level if that's what the scheme calls for and the way the defensive alignment looks in front of you. He can do that much. But I just don't know that he's going to be one of those guys like, a Gibbons lining up to his left that you can just go left or right or anything like that to create the angles. But that should be plenty.
Remember that we got Gibbons late in the game. So that is something where you get excited about the fact that you think to yourself, all right, still possibilities like you were talking about. There's still time, and maybe it doesn't happen immediately, but it's every weekend. I think we're all kind of, what's going on? Any news? No.
Any visits? Anybody checking us out?
I don't know if anybody else does this. When I go to warchant.com and I click on it, and let's say I'm having coffee on a Saturday morning.
Should be the homepage of your browser.
So I'm having coffee.
Yeah.
And I click on it and I go, oh, there we go. Let's look at this here. And then I see a defensive back. I'm like, ugh. I sip my coffee and I move on. I do that. That's my personal viewing habit. As soon as I see DB, I go, great. Another defensive back.
Must mean we don't like anybody else. The time for tampering is now. Maybe that's what we should say. The time for tampering is now. What's the NCAA going to do about it? They'll start a policy starting August 1st. All right, so you know what? Make some phone calls. Be proactive.
You could get a shirt that just says "Time to Tamper." Go Noles.
That's right. On the back it says "Inducement"
with celebration hands or some sort. Yeah. Induce the time to tamper has arrived.
The induce is loose.
The Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Officers arrested a man on murder charges following a disturbing discovery at Tanyard Creek Park early Sunday. From Quincy Police, 22-year-old Emil Gaynor was charged with second-degree murder for the death of 22-year-old Shandarika Kelly. Officers responded to a report of a person in danger at the park and discovered a silver sedan had crashed into a drainage ditch. Officers found Kelly's body inside the car. QPD said she had suffered multiple gunshot wounds. Officers attempted CPR, but Kelly was pronounced dead at the scene. A 68-year-old man was seriously injured after losing control of his vehicle Sunday morning. The man was traveling southbound on County Road 96A around 2:20 a.m. when he shifted off the roadway multiple times. The driver began to overcorrect himself, causing the vehicle to rotate and overturn. The vehicle came to a final rest on its roof facing east. The FHP was assisted by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, JCFR, Sneads Fire Department, Grand Bridge Fire Department, and the Earhart Helicopter. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly sunny skies and calm this afternoon with a high of 84. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet tonight. Lows level off around 60. Daytime highs approaching 85 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Dry with temperatures near average Wednesday and Thursday and highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway.
It's the most
circle.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on the floor. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
Think? There was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
you feel good, certainly about the softball team, which I think will, cross our fingers, play for the national championship. They hit a lot of home runs. It's fun to watch home run after home run and a thorough beatdown, taking care of business. NC State gets you some.
Consistency of thorough beatdowns. Yes.
Tom, I thought of you this weekend.
Oh, did you watch?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But I know you were, and I know that years ago you brought to my attention the elite level of play for Florida State beach volleyball. And I think, were you in attendance one year, or were you just watching when weren't they over there in Alabama? Weren't they
every year?
Beach? Yeah,
I think they're starting to move to the West Coast. I've always meant to get out there, but Mother's Day weekend is a tough time.
That's a tough time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew years ago I have watched before. I watched this fall one year. Was it to UCLA in heartbreaking fashion?
Yeah, because we had beaten them in the main draw,
Yes.
and it's not double elimination in the final game.
It was weird,
which
how
is
that
ridiculous.
Yeah, we got screwed.
It should be double elimination all the way to the top.
So bottom line is, I knew that we were on another run, because we're always on another run, and we lost again. We can't beat these California teams.
We did beat UCLA in most riveting fashion to get to the championship match, but USC has an Olympian on their team.
We should have an Olympian. We're perennial powerhouses that play for the national championship every freaking year and come up short every freaking year. Now, that's the kind of over-the-top analysis you wanted from me. We play for it, and we lose. That's all I know. I don't know any of the girls' names. I didn't watch it at all. I haven't seen them play one match this year.
Wait 40 years and they'll be FSU baseball, but they got time. They got time to correct that.
Yeah.
But the twos yesterday, that was the fun thing, was watching the twos. Chacon and Fitzpatrick, they lost in heartbreaking fashion to UCLA earlier in the day. FSU was able to rally and win and advance to the championship match. But then those two played another epic match where they fought off match points in the second set, and then they win a riveting third set. I mean, it's such good TV. It was really a lot of fun to watch.
I do admire the level of athleticism and fitness involved in any form of beach volleyball. It is, extremely difficult, exhausting. Like, we've all played some beach volleyball and had some fun with it, and it is a lot of fun. It's exhausting. And to see what they're able to do is remarkable. The sport itself is interesting. You're right. I just forget it's on sometimes, and I'm busy doing stuff, and I just, next thing you know, I check in and damn it. But hey, look, if you're going to lose to the programs that are the two powerhouses in California, UCLA and USC, I get it. I mean, that's okay. I mean, we've done wonders around here since implementing the sport.
Yeah, it wasn't that close yesterday in the championship match. As like it was really heartbreaking to lose to UCLA a few years back, because that you felt like you were the best.
This is a real surprise run, though. This team wasn't great.
Yeah, they were the five. Yeah, they were the five.
They weren't even that good this year, compared to other seasons that they've had.
Correct.
And they've only been around, 6-7 years now, so they haven't been around a long time. But this was a team that wasn't a juggernaut.
It was more of a Cinderella run, but they beat the brakes off of LMU twice, and LMU was a 4, so they took care of business there. They beat LSU along the way as well. That was a good match. And then they took down UCLA in an elimination setting. Yeah, it was a bit of a Cinderella run, but you just wonder, like, maybe it's rest versus rust kind of thing, because USC had to wait all day to play that match, and maybe FSU was on a bit of a roll. But once they split early on, because the way they do it on Championship Sundays, you play 2 matches at a time, followed by 3. And it's the first 3 points. When they split those first 2, it's bad news, because the ones, no matter how good our ones are, I don't think we were going to beat USC. So there's your in-depth analysis instead of your over-the-top analysis. But it's such good TV because it's so fast. It's made for casual viewership. I don't always make it out to a match. In fact, I hardly ever do here in Tallahassee. But when that comes on for the weekend, those matches go 2 hours, maybe if they're all 5 at one time, 1 hour, and it's just really good TV. So next year, bookmark it, people, bookmark it.
Great pitching performance on Friday for Florida State, and ends up in a 3-2 loss, which is heartbreaking. They bounce back, dominate the next 2 games, 10-4 and 8-1. Obviously, good to see for Florida State. The pitching was there, especially when you get somebody come back on the hill, and you worry about it, but everything looked right there. Everybody's healthy again, and so let's just cross our fingers that at some point here we're going to be all right in the postseason with that kind of pitching. We'll see.
Hubbard was good. Crowell was good again on Saturday. So,
Hubbard was really good.
Hubbard was really good.
Really good.
And we needed it. I felt like we talked about this.
It was a 2-2 week, man.
Yes.
It's the same thing. Like, if they're not playing somebody who's ranked, you're kind of like, all right.
Yeah, we talked about it on Monday. This is just, of course, it's going to be a 2-2 week. You don't see how, because you're playing 142 in the RPI and 107 in the RPI. But it was, and it was right on schedule, and now we're 20th. So you need to climb back into that RPI position to host a regional.
You're not going to get top 8, though, but you'll get to where you need to be to host a regional.
You play 2 with Jacksonville tomorrow. It's a doubleheader. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's 4 and 7 o'clock for those 2 games of the tentative schedule. And then it's Miami for 3. You go 4-1 this week, you're probably hosting a regional.
And knowing them, they'll go 4-1 this week, and we'll be like, all right.
It wouldn't be shocking at all.
No, it's not. They're a weird team. They're maddening in a lot of ways. They're also good in a lot of ways, and they can be very bad. That they are a bit of an enigma. They can be frustrating for aspects of the game that they don't do well. But then there is an incredibly important thing that they do well, which is pitch. And if you did everything else right, Tom, but you had average pitching, you'd feel far less hopeful about the postseason than doing some of the things they do wrong as a baseball team, but with dominant pitching or very good frontline pitching.
To answer a question from Jeremy in the chat, there are 9 regular season games remaining before ACC play.
Yeah.
Then you get to the ACC tournament, then you get the regionals. So it's probably 11, 12 games, depending upon how far you go in the ACC tournament. So you're looking at a dozen games.
Cross your fingers. NFL released a couple of nuggets. I'll touch on them momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Another check from Northern Florida?
Yes, Your Majesty.
And may I ask why we get it?
It's from one of our businesses in the States, a pest control company.
Oh, and what do we know about pests in Northern Florida?
Absolutely nothing.
Did you know that most pest and termite companies that serve Tallahassee are actually owned and operated by people that don't even live in our area? One owner is actually in Great Britain.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control was founded in North Florida, operates in North Florida, and services North Florida.
All of Paul's decisions and treatments, plus prevention methods, are centered around the unique needs of our wonderful part of the world.
Being local really does matter in our industry.
Don't trust the health of your family to companies that aren't even on our continent.
Protect your biggest investment from termites and your family and pets from pests with a company with the local advantage, Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
And remember, Paul's keeps North Florida lawns green too. For the elimination of termites and other pests,
and a greener lawn too,
call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
We use a fly swatter?
I believe we do.
Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works over time with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose-in. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
Angie's List is now Angie, your home for everything home. With Angie, you could cross your next project off your to-do list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, and we'll handle the rest. Sending a top pro to get it done. Or browse reviews, compare quotes from pros, and connect instantly. All for free. For everything from routine maintenance to a dream remodel. Because however you want your project done, we'll get it done. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
Keep going. I'll keep talking, and I'll tell them to shut up, even though that's a great Uncle Tupelo tune. The Tennessee Titans are going to face the Buffalo Bills. Good game. Minnesota Vikings, the Philadelphia Eagles on September the 19th, part of a Week 2 Monday Night Football doubleheader the NFL announced today. Good doubleheader.
That's real solid.
That's very solid. All right.
Because
Gotta
even
get
if
the juices flowing a little bit, Tommy.
Even if it's not, you won't know it by week 2. You'll be riveted.
No, yeah, just on the surface, right? Vikings, Eagles, yes. Bills, Titans, okay. Let's go. Titans-Bills game will kick off in Buffalo, 7:15 Eastern time on ESPN. Vikings will play in Philadelphia. That game will be 8:30 on ABC. That might be a night where we here on the JCS get together with some fine folks at one of our many friendly establishments that help sponsor and support the Jeff Cameron Show.
It might be. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a hell of a Monday night to me, Tom.
It does. We're in the throes of football season at that point, though.
I'm just saying that's like we're kicking off the throws. We're kicking off the throws of football season. We're not bogged down, burdened, and tired yet from having been in the throws for weeks on end. This is just sort of all right, we're all still giddy.
That's the second Monday of the season, September what now?
That is September the 19th.
So that's the Monday after Louisville week, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We will know what September is like we will know how the season's going to go.
We will know where we are, right?
Yeah.
We'll feel pretty good. I mean, there we'll sit 3-0, feeling great about the season.
Let's go watch the doubleheader. We're 3-0.
The Seattle Seahawks will face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Munich, Germany. That game is on November the 13th at 9:30 a.m. Maybe we'll meet at an establishment for that game at 9:30 a.m.
I'm okay with that, unless the week before has a primetime game, because then the post-game show runs till 2 in the morning. No, thank you.
So this will be fun. I like seeing when you get the smattering of scheduled nuggets. You're like, okay, here we go. There we go. Get them out there. Let's go.
Tasty smatterings.
You're like, look at this. Look at this. I like this one. Maybe not this one. Okay, I like this one here too. All right. We're good. That is a good appetizer. Little something out there. By the way, so this weekend, obviously, we already talked about it at the start of the show. It was Mother's Day weekend. It was also my dad's birthday. Called my dad to wish him a happy. It was on Mother's Day. And as we were talking, we started talking about that LSU game. And my dad was bullish on the Noles to win over LSU, but not the pie in the sky kind of bullish. It was I've been thinking about it. I don't think that LSU team's any good, son. I think we're going to win that game. I was like, well, we're not very good. Lest you forget. He's like, no, we're trending. We're going to be all right. They're going to have a tough transition year there in Baton Rouge. I was okay. He's got a big LSU guy that he's friends with, and they've been talking a lot. And that guy's talking down the Tigers.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, Brian Kelly has his own system, and they haven't recruited to that system. I know that they got a transfer quarterback in there who might be able to run pro-style concepts, but you would think there'd be a lot of growing pains at least for a month, like real football games. And then we have the advantage of continuity, which is not a thing that we usually have in Tallahassee. And you get the first game. You get to play week 0 against Duquesne, so you can try some stuff on. And everybody is in the mode. I think that week 0 game, opponent aside for being terrible, is a huge advantage, given that LSU has a new coaching staff. If they didn't, then maybe the advantage of having a week 0 game is nil. But since that's their first game under that staff, that actually means a lot that we get a crack at it earlier.
Yeah, listen, we broke as an early underdog. You saw that already, right? Florida State is an early underdog in that game. That doesn't mean anything in terms of the X's and O's. It just means what Vegas projects and thinks about the two programs. Listen, neither program is expected to be an elite program this year. Neither program is expected to be very good. But I would say that I think for Florida State, winning this game is of paramount importance. Your season's not lost if you lose it. But you put yourself, I believe, in a pretty close to must-win situation in that Friday night game against Louisville if you lose it.
Okay.
Go 1-2 again, Tom.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, go 1-2 again.
Of course,
right?
because that's 2 losses in a row as well. And then you got to sit on it.
And there's already a here we go again mentality. And it's just, and I wouldn't blame anybody at that point. Just hands to the sky. Why?
But is it objectively true that the more important game is the Louisville game? To win.
Conference game, division game.
Like LSU might be worth more status points, even though LSU's on
also LSU, Tom, has better players than Louisville. And I think has better players on their roster than Florida State. I think it's right now it has better players. Now it's transitioning to a much greater degree right out the box as you're making the point. And I don't think the talent gap is so disparate that you're projecting a huge upset by any means. But I do think that if you're just saying bigger, stronger, faster usually wins football games, remove all the other obstacles. Does LSU have better players than Louisville? Yes. Does LSU have a slight edge in talent against Florida State? I think so. So, yeah, man, you could lose the LSU game and it's a well-played game and it's 27-24 and it came down to the wire or whatever. You could live with that. That's not the end of the world. You go and lose to Louisville out the box in the ACC on a Friday night, coming off a loss. Yeah, man, that's problematic. I agree with you.
What's more important to you, Louisville?
Well,
because if you're arguing that LSU has better players and you split those two, both, I mean, one's a de facto road game, even though the seats are going to be close to 50-50. I mean, you're playing
pretty much both road
Louisiana.
Games. Yeah, you got to start beating the freaking Louisvilles of the world, okay? I mean, you got to.
So Louisville matters more.
I don't know. At this point, every win matters greatly. We have reached a place of desperation, and I want to see obvious signs of progress and results. I want to see that the steps that we think they're taking are now converting to wins. You know, you're getting this program that we think is better than it was. I still don't think it's elite or anywhere close to it. I think it's got a long way to go in that regard, but it needs to show that it can be the second best team in the Atlantic.
It's a tough year to do that if you go by the preseason pollsters.
Yeah, we're the underdog and or will be slight favorites. I mean, there aren't too many games where Florida State is going to be a decided favorite.
No,
I mean,
but I'm just
the opener.
I'm saying some people have NC State in their top 10 in the preseason.
Sure.
Clemson is
veteran quarterback, veteran defensive line, a program that continues to win and rise. I mean, I know we didn't think that Dave Doran would get it done, but he has.
Wake Forest is a preseason top 25 team. Clemson's going to be there, and then Louisville. That's the team that you're trying to just pass.
Better beat Louisville. I guess we just answered our question.
This is why we explore things and test theories.
Yeah, no, I think we just answered our own question there. Better beat Louisville. Hour number 2, forthcoming. That'll be the interview with Jameis Winston at the bottom of the hour. So hang in there for that as well. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. At a meeting with her Ukrainian counterpart, First Lady Jill Biden says it's important that she visited with Ukraine's First Lady on Mother's Day to show U.S. support for Ukraine.
This war has been brutal, and that the people of the United States stand with the people of Ukraine.
The First Lady now on her way back to Washington. Russian President Vladimir Putin has sought to cast Moscow's military action in Ukraine as a forced response to Western policies and a necessary move to ward off a potential aggression. Addressing today's military parade on Red Square, marking the World War II victory over the Nazis, Putin drew parallels between the Red Army's fighting against the Nazi troops and the Russian forces' action in Ukraine. Also at townhall.com, the Republican attorneys general of Missouri and Louisiana have accused President Biden in a lawsuit of colluding with social media giants to censor and suppress speech under the guise of combating misinformation.
The lawsuit claims that Mr. Biden and his supporters during the 2020 election campaign and now in office had directly worked with executives and employees of big tech companies to censor content related to controversial political debates over the past 2 years. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry wrote, quote, "Big tech has become an extension of Biden's big government, and neither are protecting the freedoms of Americans. Rather, they're suppressing truth and demonizing those who think differently." Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt says, quote, "I will not stand idly by while the Biden administration attempts to trample on the First Amendment rights of Missourians and Americans." Bernie Bennett reporting.
Vandals struck a pro-life group's office in Madison, Wisconsin, apparently setting a fire after a Molotov cocktail thrown into the building failed to ignite over the weekend. Police are investigating the incident as arson. More at townhall.com.
Warning. Possible recession ahead.
War is raging in Eastern Europe. Inflation is at 40-year highs. Markets are volatile, and the dream of a comfortable retirement is harder to attain than ever before. But all you want is a safe and stress-free retirement. I'm Al Labarola, founder of Knight Strategic Wealth. Nobody wants to run out of money in retirement. That's why as you approach retirement, we work to protect you from volatile markets. So if you want to know how our annuity strategy can go up with the market and never lose money, please pay attention. When the stock market goes up, you lock in your gains. When it goes down, you don't lose a dime, and there are no unnecessary fees. If that sounds too good to be true, it's not. Want to learn more? Text free to 833-898-0500, and we'll send our retirement readiness kit directly to your phone right now. If you want to use safe, low-fee annuities to build a retirement portfolio that will go up with the market and never lose money, get our retirement readiness kit today and see how this strategy can help secure your future. Text free to 833-898-0500. Text free to 833-898-0500.
Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at whittenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Of Hutchinson Community College. And it's just, we were talking last hour about how Florida State desperately needs a receiver. And this is where, when we have the larger discussion about what it's going to take to make a significant shift possible for Mike Norvell and his staff, it's the ability to present oneself in a way that is alluring, in a way that perhaps a guy like Malik Benson might be interested to come play football at Florida State, because he's not. And when you are looking for your name to be atop the list or on a visitation list, like, could you come visit here? Then you typically are going to need to have had some success in the not so recent past, right? Or not so distant past. And so Georgia, of course, made the list. Georgia is atop the list. And, Oregon's there and Alabama's there and teams like that. Florida State's nowhere to be found there. Now, I'm not saying that's anybody's fault. I'm not saying that's a specific coach's fault this time around. It's just that when you read these stories and you hear about the potential of a guy aligning himself or taking a visit to your school, you can't help but note you have to have enough wins to where you shine in a way that maybe makes you the 4th team on his list or the 5th team on his list. Because if you get him here, you never know what can happen. But we're not in a position to get those kinds of guys here, let's say, right now.
Well, if your son was a wide receiver prospect in JUCO and he had a chance to go visit the likes of Alabama or Oregon, let's just go Oregon. That's a lower level. Kenny Dillingham's there. So that tells you that it's a lower level than the pinnacle of Power 5. No, I'm not being mean to Kenny. That's just true. He hasn't earned his stripes yet on that level.
Yeah, but Oregon went to Columbus and beat Ohio State on the road last year.
They did. And they parlayed that into getting there.
Into nothing, but a more significant win than Florida State's had in a long time is my point.
Hey, listen, Mac Brown has been a top 10 team in the preseason. So I don't know what you want out of us. We went into that building and beat that ass last year. But, really, would you recommend that he comes to Florida State right now with this offense, the way how are you going to better your draft stock coming to Florida State in 1 year?
Right. My heart would be yes, of course. But if I'm being sensible, logical, no, I'd want him to go somewhere where he has a chance to win a championship and be prolific, put up numbers, an offensive line that I know is going to protect a drop back passer.
There's nothing attractive about this place to a receiver who's going to be here.
Wide receiver.
No,
there isn't. I know that. And one of the problems you have is you have to find a way by hook or crook to get to a point where it can be. I bring this up all the time about, remember the dearth of receivers that Florida had for a long stretch where you're like, why doesn't the University of Florida have any receivers? This receiving core is awful. And it was because they had some lean years. And then once that happens, it begets more, and you end up seeing a stretch where you're just no longer attractive. It doesn't take long to be unattractive, to become unattractive to potential recruits at a specific position where you've been weak over a 2 and 3 year window. And for Florida State, this is a ridiculous set of circumstances. I find myself not only lamenting, but being legitimately angered by our situation at wide receiver. It bothers me to no end because of the history of Florida State receivers, because of the state we're in, because of prolific passing teams year in and year out that pretty much litter the last 40 years of Florida State football. It hasn't been that way as of late, obviously, but it reminds you of how far you've got to go. You have to find a way to get more wins, first of all, and it doesn't have to be in the passing game. You just got to get more wins. So all of a sudden you get an opportunity at that point to show up on somebody's radar. They might not even know anything about what you are offensively, but you won 9 games last year and you won some high-profile games. They're going to take interest. And once you crack that barrier, kick down that door, and you get a top-tier kid to say yes and then have success with him, then obviously down the line, you got a chance to like I said before, it gets more.
Yeah, I think it's plenty impressive that they were able to secure as many transfers as they did this offseason.
Yes, of course.
Because again, this is just long-term, it might be attractive. Don't misunderstand me. If A.J. Duffy and a good offensive line is the future of this program, then hell yeah, I want to play receiver here. But this year, with an offensive line that's still porous and it's trying to prove itself, and then Jordan Travis, who, if I'm a burner or I'm a bubble guy, then yeah, I could see where I've got productivity coming. Micah Pittman's going to get a lot of targets this year.
And I think he's going to be productive. Yeah, he's a good player.
A lot of them around the line of scrimmage. And if also my job is to just run a 9 as fast as I possibly can, like a deuce span, then in this offense, that's great because it's a lot of body blows and then boom,
you
over
get a home
the top.
Run shot here and there or a wheel route or something.
Right.
Yeah.
2 catches, 76 yards and a touchdown. That'll work. That'll work too. That'll help with your pro prospects. But if you're one of these guys who's a down in, down out possession receiver, who's got some top-end speed to him, but they're that true player who is projected to go NFL, play 3 downs, and be a factor on 3 downs. This year, this team? No. Now, if I'm a running back, though, I might look here longer than the reputation would say.
They scheme up the running game, even with substandard offensive line play, and that is impressive. I'm lamenting that every time a high-profile wide receiver lists the names of teams that he will be visiting and is interested in, we're nowhere to be found. And it just reminds you of exactly where we are. It's a stark reminder of exactly where we are. It's really frustrating. I'm not saying we should be on the same plane right now, currently, as Georgia, the reigning national champion, and given what they have established from a recruiting standpoint, and Kirby has that machine rolling, I get it. But when I saw that, I was just kind of smiling. I'm like, nowhere to be found.
What frustrates me to no end is if you're a good high school or JUCO or college transfer H-back tight end, like I would look here. I really would. This would be an offense that I'd die to play in. Like, this would be a great opportunity to show off the versatility.
There's a role for you if you can play at all. You don't have to beat out all that many guys.
Anybody,
talent.
Any of them. Like, you have opportunity, and you can see in the offense. You can watch 15 plays in this offense and say, "Oh man, I'm in the middle of everything." Like, I'm never going to be bored playing at Florida State. That's frustrating that we can't get one of those guys to say, you know what? It doesn't matter that they win 6 or 7 games. I'm gonna be all over this offense, and the film's gonna be great for me.
This is why, in time again, we reiterate it, and they know it, and it will be intriguing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. This is why they better have a good year. I keep coming back to this. To kick down the door, to have an opportunity to sign an upper crust player at those positions, they better have a successful season. Because again, I don't care how many times I hear people say, well, this isn't the year that they're going to let Mike Norvell go if he has a bad year, because financially they can't do it. I've recognized that fact. I've never said Mike Norvell comes into this season, quote unquote, like you've seen articles posted, that he's on the hot seat. No, I don't think he is. Not in a traditional sense. Normally, if you're on the hot seat, you have a bad year, you get fired. That's what that means. So when you read the Sports Illustrated article, Fox Sports article, ESPN article, any of the articles that suggest this coach or that coach is on the hot seat, what they're telling you is he better get off to a good start and or have a good season, or he's going to be fired. That's not this season for Mike Norvell as he comes into the campaign. But he might as well be. He might as well be, because if you don't have that season, you're a dead man walking. That's what I've said. That it won't be this year. It'll be the following year. And I stand by that. It will be, because if you don't have a good year this year and take a big step forward, these kids of which we speak that we're lamenting go elsewhere aren't coming.
I still hesitate on that one. I mean, like, define the terms. Let's say you go 6-6 or 7-5 this year. So it's middling. It's a middling season.
Ugh.
But if you replace some of those offensive linemen with kids who are rising up through the ranks, like the haul that you got this summer, I know it's not ideal to play redshirt freshmen at offensive line, but they might actually be an improvement over what we've seen the last couple of years if you hit on them. And the offensive line is good next year. Whoever the quarterback is, it could be Jordan Travis again. He did just graduate, so it'll be interesting to see how this offseason plays, this next one. Upcoming plays.
Well, that's all depending on what happens this year.
Yeah, it is.
Everything.
It is, but I mean, like, it's not exactly like he could have a year where he's going to go declare for the draft. He's still got eligibility.
Oh, no, he's definitely
so
not.
But you know what I'm saying? So
for the draft.
That's interesting, though, because then you get Duffy in here for another year. You got Parson in if he signs on the line, which is dotted. So now you've got a really crowded quarterback room out of nowhere, and you might have a decent offensive line that can hold up in pass protection. You just might in 2023. And if that's the case, then you might have balance on offense. And you could come out of the dead man walking year with significant improvement in offensive production and balance.
This is where we agree on the kind of year you might have, but it'll be too late. You will have spent too many days and years, in this case, in the doldrums to have made an impact in the recruiting ranks. Nobody will flock to that. You will have yet another wasted year in recruiting in which you don't bring in upper crust talent. And at that point, your roster's littered with average-ass players with few exceptions.
I think you'd have enough players to be able to still turn it around. I just wonder about the influx of cash, which is now more critical than ever. Like, that's the hard part, is if you have a middling year this year, well, then where's the replenishment for Rising Spear? Where's the replenishment for the booster funds in order to carry out the long-term projects? Are they actually going to continue to commit for 2023, or are they just going to say, I'm pulling my money back until you guys get your stuff together? That would be the bigger worry than the players to me. I think they've got enough to get to that 8 or 9 win plateau, be it this year or next season. It's just a matter of, do you have the support that you need?
Man, I'll tell you one thing Mike's done a very good job of, is he has certainly understood the set of circumstances that he's inherited, and created. All of that's true, right? So he's friends with the right people when it comes to the money people. He's also done a good job in some areas within the program. Flipping the locker room is one of them. So people see enough positive momentum there. And we both think, and I'll say it every time I have this conversation, just because so there could be new people and they don't know where I stand on this. I think he's a good coach. But as I've also said, good coaches get fired all the time. So it's one thing I would note is that I guess those people that align themselves, the money people that align themselves with Mike, have said, look, we're patient. We believe, we're excited. All those things are true. But a mantra on this show, what is it? Wins and losses happen for a reason, and they elicit emotion. And how you feel when you sit in May about a team and a player and a coach can change radically one Saturday afternoon against Jacksonville State, or night. It could be okay, or it works.
Yeah. Or a Saturday afternoon against Wake Forest, in which the explanation for whatever the hell that was offensively is we're going to ride the hot hand, which is just like, dude,
right.
Come on now, man.
Right now, or it can also change as you leave that stadium on a Saturday night in celebration over, with a last-second win over your arch rival in Miami. I get it. I get how it shifts, but I'm always mindful of that. How we feel right now in May, and how those people feel in May. If Florida State starts the season 1-2 with losses to both LSU and on the road on a Friday night against Louisville.
Well, at that point, I think in the academic calendar at Florida State and in Tallahassee in general, September will not be a month on the calendar. We're going to go August and August too, because September will have now for 5 or 6 consecutive years been the death knell. And not even like September 25th.
Yeah,
like the 10th.
Like mid-September.
Like the 16th.
Yeah.
And it's all over. Yeah.
Ooh.
So did you just live in that world for about 5 seconds?
I'm sorry. We're doing a radio program. Yeah. I did. I pictured us day to day living in that world.
What's that next game? Is it Boston College at home? Let me take a look.
I think it is. And you would get to, 2-2 at that point. You would,
Yeah, but I mean, come on. It's Monday, the 19th of September. There's going to be a great Monday Night Football doubleheader that night. We've established this.
We'll be there.
But it's
drowning our sorrows or celebrating our newfound fortune.
It's recap Louisville Monday. Prepare for Boston College to come to town Monday after being 1-2. Dude, that is a rough Monday.
Yes, it is. It's a spirited Monday, Tom. I'm just going to say this. I think the tone in our conversation centered around this program and the people involved in it would shift. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you in May, I think the degree to which this conversation would shift if they're 1-2. I think it's more severe than you realize as we sit here today. I think it's more severe than
your punishment must be more severe.
I think we're talking it's a different.
You're calling for his firing if they're 1-2 on that Monday. Just say it. We're gonna get the bagpipes out.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
All right.
Well,
so what's more severe? The severity of it all.
Well, we're contemplating a lot of directions
Severed
the program
limbs.
can take and what needs to be done and how to get there and all that other stuff. So, I mean, I don't think that's a very good Louisville team. I understand that quarterback lit us up for a half a year ago.
Well, remember, they quit in the second half. We did nothing right in the second half.
I'm just telling you.
That's sarcasm. People.
I know it is. Brian Kelly, year one, you already laid bare all of the uphill battle he has to face. We'll lose that game. Okay.
I mean, just think about that opening interview of that game, too. Brian, what does it feel like to be in New Orleans as the head coach of LSU? Well, what an amazing Sunday night.
I got a call from the Alabama Slammer himself.
Brian, that's half Irish, half Southern.
We don't even know what you're
doing. Broken.
What are you saying?
I just hope we win.
Thank you. He's back. We want to do when we come back to Jameis interview right here. We want a short timer.
We are prepared to do that. What would you like?
Let's talk to Jameis Winston next on the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
God gave us two ends, one to think with and one to sit on. Success in life depends on which one you use. Heads, you win. Tails, you lose. Hi, I'm Rick Hughes, host of The Flatline. Heard every Sunday morning here at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 Tallahassee Real Talk Station. Come join me 30 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and some education as I seek to reveal God's plan by teaching 10 unique problem-solving devices. Every Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m., 93.3 Real Talk Tallahassee.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, you know these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk radio show. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. where I provide clear answers to all your questions about Medicare.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness, 2 Tallahassee locations.
It's the most important one. You know, right? Yeah, it's the best. You know, my son, Bryce, congratulations on graduating from Florida State University. We saw the video, made us all smile. Hell of an accomplishment, sir.
Man, thank you. You know, I love finishing. I love completing things, and that's definitely a goal that I had to finish for my mother. So shout out to Loretta Winston for that inspiration in me.
Yeah, I know your mama, your family, all your family, right? You said you wanted to do it for them. Your thoughts as you walked across that stage? That had to be with family, but also just the journey to get to that point, right? The ups and downs and everything in between.
Yeah, I think I just
And I remember when he was here talking to him about someday graduating, and he had mentioned that he had promised his mom and family that at some point he would. And so when he did, we reached out to talk with Jameis Winston, and he said yes, which was nice because, again, right now he's not doing a lot of interviews. So without further ado, we'll bring you that interview right now. I did this on Friday at around 3:30, just so you know, for the peek behind the curtain. This is me talking to former Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, currently Saints quarterback, Jameis Winston. Back, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, and you can see his mug right there. There he is. He's Jameis Winston. He's the quarterback, New Orleans Saints. And most importantly, I want to start with the good stuff. Jameis, congratulations on being a graduate. Congratulations on graduating from Florida State University. We saw the video, made us all smile. Hell of an accomplishment, sir.
Man, thank you. You know, I love finishing. I love completing things, and that's definitely a goal that I had to finish for my mother. So shout out to Loretta Winston for that inspiration in me.
Yeah, I know your mama, your family, all your family, right? You said you wanted to do it for them. Your thoughts as you walked across that stage? That had to be with family, but also just the journey to get to that point, right? The ups and downs and everything in between.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed my time being back on campus at FSU, you know, because I really haven't been around much just because of, you know, me playing in the NFL and being busy or whatnot and starting a family. But it was just that token of completion. I was excited to see, you know, and really it inspired me to see the people, the kids that I was walking with, and they really were kids. Like I as one young lady said, she was born in 2001, and I'm like, okay, I was born in '94, but that's young, you know. And just to see, you know, obviously the effort that it took for them to complete their degree in probably 2-3 years or 4. It took that same amount of effort of completion, and no matter how long it takes you, when you complete it, the job is done. So I'm happy for that.
It happens quick, Jameis. You end up coming back to campus every now and again, and you realize that time flies, right? Although they look like babies, don't they? It's crazy when you look out there and see some of the graduates. I know you got a chance, too, since you're bringing up campus, to go over there to baseball and to talk to Chip. And I see Chip all the time, and it's great, and everybody else within the baseball program. How closely do you get to follow, with you being so busy training all the time and you know, obviously being a dad, as you just mentioned, and a husband, how much do you get to catch Florida State baseball or follow along with what they're doing?
Well, I sometimes I scroll down my Twitter thread and I see, you know, the updates of the scores for their little Twitter handle. But I don't follow as much as I used to early on in the league, just because it was tough for me to be removed from the baseball team. Man, it was so tough that last year, that decision to just, you know, go pro and not play my last year of baseball, because that's a sport that I love so much. But I picked up a little bit more after 11 had retired, and, you know, Meat got the job. So I was like, man, I had a little burst of energy to get into it again, because I was rooting for him. Obviously, that being a prestigious role, him picking up from the program that his dad, you know, started and excelled at. So I was excited for him. But other than that, man, I'm always going to be a Noles fan. It was really good to see how our crazy fans there at the game, and we put a whooping up on TCU.
Yeah, we did. That was nice. And if the Rains hadn't come on Sunday, that would have been a 3-game sweep. Yeah, really quickly, I've always wondered this, because I know you love baseball. You've told me that before, all those years ago when you were here, and it's evident just to watch you, the joy you have on a baseball field. Same for football, but I know you love baseball too. I've always often wondered, whenever your playing career is over in the NFL, could be 15 years from now, who knows? Would you ever think about it if you had any bullets left in the gun to go back out and play a little baseball? Have you ever thought, if you could? It would
definitely be an aspiration of mine to go and step up on the bump, man. But, you know, one thing about a pitcher is so similar to quarterback, because you're so in control of the entire rhythm, entire flow of the game, you know. But it ain't nothing like being a hitter, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing like playing every day, you know. As a pitcher, you're gonna throw every 5 days, but that's one thing. If I look back at my baseball career, I wish I would have spent a few extra moments in the batting cages so I could have been a hitter.
Yeah, well, there's still time. Knock on wood one day. Hey, if you had to throw a slider right now, because you threw a nasty slider, Could you still get up there 87 to 91?
Yeah, I still break somebody off the play. I still would. No question about that. And that's just from pure will to pitch and set them down.
While you were here, you got a chance to meet with the new athletic director and to meet with Mike Norvell, the head football coach, and obviously some of the players. And I know Jordan Travis walked with you as well, which was really cool to have quarterbacks like that out there together. I'm curious with Mike. Obviously, he's involved in the climb, and he's trying to get this thing flipped around. And it occurs to me that, obviously when he's recruiting, when he's trying to get guys to come here, he has to ask them to believe in whatever his vision is, right? Like, here's where we're going, not where we've been. Here's where we're headed. That had to have happened for you too, because at the time that Jimbo Fisher, your old coach, reached out to you, you had to have a leap of faith as well. Everybody in the country wanted you to come be their quarterback, including Alabama, obviously. And yet Jimbo Fisher laid out a plan for you. And at that time, the Noles hadn't, won the national championship in a long time, hadn't been that caliber of a program. Do you see any similarities there? Are the two men similar in that regard, in the way that they deliver the message and they talk about the way they see Florida State football emerging?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I believe definitely in a coaching realm, they're very similar. But, obviously I love my head coach, Jimbo Fisher, just the time that we spent together and the countless hours that we spent preparing for each other. And, we won a national championship. But I know what Mike Norvell is doing in Tallahassee right now is something special. It's just finding the right guys to believe in your system, finding the right guys to believe in you, believe in him like we believed in Coach Jimbo, and through that process of whatever, you're going to have your ups and downs, you're going to have your highs, you're going to have your lows, but staying consistent every single day, being the same person every single day will eventually lead you to the path where you want to go. And Mike Norvell has been successful everywhere he's been. So there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to, get things going, trending in a positive direction for our university again, and get some great players, because we had some great players at Florida State. We had great leaders at Florida State, and it's tough this day and age in college football to get those players, because sometimes players don't like one situation and they jump in their transfer portal and they're out of there, so it's challenging. So I do believe that Coach Norvell, his strategy, his values, what he stands for as a head coach for that football team, it means a lot, and it holds the same weight that Jimbo of leadership that Jimbo held with us. It's just about, coaches coach, man, and that's always gonna be a case. Coaches coach, but we got to get players that are dedicated to playing, because the players play, and the players have to believe in him and go all the way with him for them to win there. And I think that's going to happen.
You're a busy man. I don't want to spend too much more time with you. I want you to be able to go on and do what you have to do. But I do want to ask you one question, just as a giant football fan. As you get set to lead the Saints this season, what was it like? I've always been curious about this, and what a cool thing it had to have been for you to sit in a game plan room with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. That. Take me through a conversation. Like, you're a brilliant football mind. You love the process. You love the work. You love the strategy. You understand the game. What was it like for you to sit in there with these two guys, Hall of Famers, and those minds, and to be able to contribute to that and have those conversations in those planned meetings?
Well, it was a blessing, and and I don't use that term lightly, because you have a Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees, and you have a Hall of Fame coach in Sean Payton. And one of the greatest things that I learned in that room really is use the resources that you have around you, and not only use the resources that you have around you, know how to use those resources, because we had a bunch of other great men and women in that building that Drew would take information from, that Drew would be collaborating with over and over and over again. And the relationship and continuity that he had with Sean was something that I really yearned for, because that's the first, like in Tampa, I had a great relationship with my coaches, but to see that collaboration with someone who spent 16 years together was so important. And it led me to like, hey, I have to have that same type of command of the offense, same type of collaboration with these coaches within our entire building, and not just Sean, but the scouting directors, and not just the scouting directors, but with the strength coaches, not just the strength coaches, but with the janitors and people in the cafeteria. And I think I've always had that type of relationship with everyone around the building, but seeing that continuity between Drew and Sean was very eye-opening, man, because the way that they work, the way that they see the game is at an elite level, and just being able to take a step back of humility and believing that I was excelling at a high level. And I did some great things in my career before it got to that point. But just seeing that continuity, man, was so big for me. And every day I never go back and get in another situation and miss out on getting a chance to spend a year with Drew and 2 years with Sean.
Thanks for the time, Jameis. Thanks for the candor as always. I wish nothing but the best for you, sir, and be well, and we'll be watching. You take care, and congratulations on being a graduate at Florida State University.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Man, have a great day. Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers, too.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right. See you.
Left-hand curve when he drifted off the road. The driver then began to overcorrect himself, causing his car to overturn, where it eventually came to a final resting point facing north on its roof. FHP was assisted by Waukesha County Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, and EMS. An urgent call to dog lovers. Your help is needed. Tallahassee Shelter is in critical state of overflowing with dogs. Staff and volunteers are hustling, trying to adopt animals and avoid running out of room. Otherwise, they may be forced to take drastic measures. The Animal Service Center has 110 dog kennels, but right now it is housing more than 115 dogs, forcing some of the pups to double up. If adoption is not for you, you can also foster an animal to help relieve the crowding. For more information, go to the website talgov/animal shelter. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly sunny skies and calm this afternoon with a high of 84. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet tonight. Lows level off around 60. Daytime highs approaching 85 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Dry with temperatures near average Wednesday and Thursday, and highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 79.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Of 97 patients, 33 are vaccinated, and 63% are considered incidental.
See, this is what I'm upset about. He's basically made up the percentages to look like it's at 100%, but the two are not related to each other.
What's 37% of 97?
It's 35.89.
So why in the hell can't he literally ask iPhone to include that in his articles?
Maybe he's got an Android.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
going, and he's got to be happy Olave is there and got some weapons to stretch the field a little bit, so should be fun.
We haven't really talked about it because on Friday when you conducted the interview, it was basically out the door once we were wrapped. But when he was talking about the continuity of
he
the
had to
coaching
catch
staff,
himself because he was about to rip the Bucs.
That was a major catch. And that ball was maybe, I think a lot of people probably caught it, but that ball was maybe an inch off the turf before he caught it.
Yeah.
Because to see the continuity of 16 years,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you never had it in Tampa. It's okay. We know you didn't. There's no way you could have.
Well, there's a lot of things that one day I'd like to be able to talk with him about. That some things I've talked to he and his family about off the air, but stuff that we could just someday kind of bring to the table that would be very interesting. There's a lot of angles. His career is still ongoing, and it's still right now up in the air. Nobody has any real idea how we're going to view what that career is, because I think he's got another 10 years to play and has a lot to say about whether or not it's going to end well for him and favorable will be the descriptor or not.
What's interesting is that the Saints are in flux too. It's they're getting ripped league wide for going for it when they don't really have the horses to go for it.
So I think,
and he's on a 2-year deal. So there's a lot that could be. I mean, in 2 years, he could be a really hot commodity on the free agent market, or it could be that he is remanded to backup / Ryan Fitzpatrick type work for the rest of his career.
I think it's fascinating in that I think the Saints are a weird team. They were playing well before he got hurt last year. They do, and they went out and got Honey Badger now on that defense, which was already good. They give us fits. Now, they had a lot of problems with everybody else. If he plays well, like he did in the 7 games he had played, and they're able to run the ball, if Olave hits the ground running, and that defense remains stout, the roster is good enough to win 11 games, and they could be a problem for people in the playoffs. So they're kind of betwixt and between. I would say that every year that goes by, they're having more and more problems because some of these defensive stalwarts leave. And we'll see with Thomas on the offensive side, because he is a problem child, it seems, year in and year out.
And then their offensive line is objectively worse this year than it was last year. So you've got a problem there as well.
Yeah, they're a fascinating team. I mean, I think they're unquestionably the second best team in the South. But we'll see how much better a full season with him healthy and in addition of Olave makes them. I think it's kind of a fascinating team.
Well, and the narrative will be very interesting. If you get to see some of those games, and certainly the Monday Night Football in week 2. They don't play that game. That's Eagles and Vikings. But anytime you get a chance to see them on national TV, is the narrative going to be, well, now he doesn't have the safety blanket of Sean Payton? Because I feel like that's the way that the national analysts are going to go with it. They're going to say, well, Sean Payton's not here to protect him from himself anymore. Let's see if he can do it on his own. I'm not saying that's fair. I'm just saying that that's going to cloud and affect the way that he is perceived at the end of this current contract that he signed with the Saints. Because this is a team in flux, and it's a quarterback in flux for the long term.
What the league has shown in the last 5 seasons is that, and this is interesting because we have a mutual friend and we would debate this all the time. What a team wants a lot of times from their quarterback, unless you have a preternaturally great quarterback who can do everything, the way that Patrick Mahomes can do almost anything, both with his arms and his legs, and he can play it any way you want to play it, right? Unless you're one of those guys, they encourage the vast majority of their quarterbacks in this league to play conservatively, to not turn the football over, to check down, to complete a very high percentage of their passes, and they don't mind if the yards per pass attempt, air yards, are down. They'd rather live with that than you taking too many chances that lead to turnovers. Now, that's boring. And you better have a really good defense, because if you do, you can play to that and let the other team beat themselves. They will. And he became sort of this poster child for all the things we love about an elite talent with a big arm that pushes the issue and wants to go win football games for his franchise as the guy and will challenge any defender, any throw at any time, to the point where he can throw for over 5,000 yards and 30-plus touchdowns in a season, but also, as we've noted, of course, throw a ton of interceptions. Now, Gone is the nuance in that discussion, both the good and the bad. The nuance would include the fact that a lot of guys throw for over 4,000, close to 5,000 yards these days because the rules are benefiting quarterbacks and receivers. A lot of guys are able to complete a high percentage of passes these days for that same reason. Rules prohibit defenders from touching receivers hardly at all, right? You can barely get away with anything anymore. So that would mitigate some of the praise that you have for those top-end seasons that Jameis had. At the same time, he had a coach that begged him to throw the ball down the field, stated it publicly in the press for his 2 years there, basically like, hey, I'm not worried about your interceptions. We want you to make plays. It's the only way this team can compete is to try to win in shootouts, and we have some firepower, so go ahead and do it, and interceptions be damned. Except for when those guys began to get hurt and the offensive line stunk, they still told him to throw the ball down the field when the whole world knew it was coming against average-ass receivers because your starters were down.
With 5 in to block, yeah.
Right, and then those led to terrible results from an interception standpoint. So the nuance of the good and the bad got removed altogether, and you became a statistic. And I think that's where mentally, for him, that's the tough aspect of, how do I handle this? Because he got to New Orleans, and in the end, basically he was well down the path of being a much more reserved quarterback before he got hurt last year. Everything was dialed back. You think about his yards per attempt.
Oh, way down.
Obviously, interceptions were also way down because he was not taking any of the risks that he used to take. So what is he going to be? Well, it's a decision he has to make, and it's one the organization will dictate in terms of what they want. There are quarterbacks capable of doing more in offenses all around the league that are told, if it's close, don't take the risks. We'd rather punt and play defense and just not turn the football over. There's such a fear of the turnover in modern football right now. I mean, I don't think there are too many coaches who would to me, if I've got a guy that can go win a football game and challenge the defense and make them play us honest, I'll live with a 31 touchdown, 17 interception season. I'll live with a 31 touchdown, 19 interception season if he's going to throw for 4,857 yards, and we're gonna win games because he's able to make throws others refuse to try. I'll live with it. Now, if I've got a dominant defense and a really good punter, maybe my talking point changes.
Well, that's the other thing, that his last couple of years there, the defense was really bad until it wasn't in the last quarter of his final season in Tampa.
Right.
Like it flipped overnight around Thanksgiving that year.
Yeah.
It wasn't think about the Giants game. They didn't punt in the first half and they found a way to lose.
Yeah, well, they also missed a field goal point blank.
Of course they did, but the Daniel Jones
ran around like Mike Vick.
Yes,
crazy.
He could do no wrong that day, and that was not the only instance.
Oh, we made a lot of quarterbacks look good. Backups.
What I'm talking about in the Bruce Arians 1 year, because that's the 1 year that's in question. The first 10 games, the defense was a sieve, so you're better off chucking it down the field.
You tried to win 38-35.
By the time that December came around and the receivers got hurt, the defensive backfield was overnight great. Whoa, wait a minute.
Where did this come from?
We're making plays left and right. It was tough. I mean, because you're having this debate, and it's a good one, and it's a worthy one, and then Brady's available for less money than Jameis is asking for. So then it's over.
Yeah, it is over.
And it's the correct answer for it to be over.
Yeah. Well, when he made the comment that he made, it was the NFL meetings, whatever it was, there's the interview, the famous interview. I think it was the Sirius XM interview.
Yep.
And whoever it was that was talking to him, it was a great job. They elicited that response.
Siciliano.
Yeah,
Siciliano.
he did a great job, because what ended up happening was basically he tipped his hand. When he basically said, well, if Tom Brady were available, certainly we would be excited. I mean, who wouldn't be? And you're like, okay, well, they're going after Brady.
And that's what Siciliano said at the end. So basically what you're telling me is Jameis coming back is not a bad thing, but if Brady's available, that's what you'd rather do. And Bruce is like, yeah.
Yes. You want to make the right play. That's what we're discussing, right? Hamilton Home Loans. And that's an easy choice. You're going to want to go see the legendary team that is Chad and Shannon Hamilton Home Loans. The mortgage process does not have to be intimidating. It has to be simplified and be seen as an opportunity. And the only way that can happen is clear-cut dialogue and information, cutting-edge technology, transparent communication, of which I speak. That's a 5-star mortgage experience, and that's what you'll get at Hamilton Home Loans. Give a call today to find out more, 844-FSU-LOAN. Call my guys, Chad and Shannon, the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans, or check them out online, FSUHomeLoans.com. Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark.construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark. T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
Actually, all of us that have the privilege to work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control are Paul.
We're proud to call ourselves Paul because we work for a company that puts our customers first. We love what we do, and we love the principles our company demands.
Give our customers more than they expect and do everything within our power to keep them safe and comfortable.
We make a difference every day and know we protect the health of our thousands of North Florida customers that we are honored to call our friends.
And we're looking to bring a few more Pauls to our growing family. We have several openings now or in the very near future. Positions include termite, lawn, and general pest techs, route managers, inside sales, and customer service rep. Visit callpauls.com to see what's available and to find out how to apply. Every Pauls receives competitive pay with outstanding benefits, including health insurance, 401k, paid leave time, and holidays.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
And you could be Paul, too, for the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We've been getting them all in North Florida for over 50 years.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
Get to hear my friend cue it up, shall we?
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching probables?
Brought to you by North Florida Payroll Services. Locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to NorthFloridaPayroll.com. 6-1, Baltimore leads Kansas City. The starters in that game, Carlos Hernandez and Tyler Wells. Oh, wow. Rangers-Yankees. There's a no-hitter going on there in the 6th.
For whom?
I don't know.
Yankees?
Let's hope not. Neither team has scored, so I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I didn't pull it up. I just saw that it's a no-hitter alert. John Gray, Nestor Cortez.
Nestor?
Oh, great. Pirates take on the Dodgers tonight. That ought to be fun. Julio Urias goes for the Dodgers. He's off to a good start. Jose Quintana goes for the Pirates. He's actually off to a good start, too. Won't matter. We're going to get killed.
So Nestor's throwing the no-no bid at the moment. But you're right. There's no score, and the Yankees only have 3 hits.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Brewers, Reds, Brendan Woodruff, and Luis, as he's known to his friends and family, Castillo. A's, Tigers, Paul Blackburn and Michael Pineda. Guardians, White Sox, Zach Plesac, Michael Kopech. We got the Rays and the Angels, Jeffrey Springs, Noah Syndergaard. Cubs, Padres, Kyle Hendricks, Mackenzie Gore. Phillies, Mariners, should be a good game tonight. Rangers, Suarez, Chris Flexen. Marlins, D-backs, El Sierra Hernandez, and Humberto.
What now?
Humberto.
Oh, I thought you said Mahumberto.
No,
Like, that's a new one.
Humberto Castellanos. Rockies, Giants, Austin Gomber, Carlos Rodon, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Have you watched you don't have Netflix anymore, do you?
I don't think so. We were primed to cancel it, but I wasn't really running to Netflix anyway, so I think it's gone.
Not a good series there, buddy. Anyhow, the Our National Parks is a good one. It's worth your time if you could find it some other back alleyway.
You could just give me your login.
I could. Although you saw they're cracking down.
Well, I saw they also
it.
they moved Cobra Kai up from a January release date to September because they need to keep people spending on their subscriptions.
Not seen any of that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's just it's a mindless, fun show that's got a little bit more of an adult bend to it than you might think. So it's good.
One of the things that they do well is any of these investigative type murder stuff things they do well. Like I like I'm a big fan of serial killers, Tom.
Oh, yeah. Big fan of the serial killers.
Yeah, big fan. Well, I like finding out how they met their demise and who caught them and how and what was the evidence and the profiling and all that stuff. I've read all those books. I love that stuff. So Mindhunter and shows like that I like. But they had a new series, and I remember reading about the guy they just caught, and it was pretty fascinating because they talked to the actual detectives who did the work, and it's fun.
In my household, it's kind of a sad time for the electronics. My Xbox looks like it's on the fritz.
Woo!
It's having some issues after 8 years. After 8 years.
What a
glorious
run.
years.
What a run.
So the PS5 now houses all of the streaming apps. Play some games over there, but now it's just in the rotation more. But what sucks is the MLB app, you can't do the picture-in-picture. So, George, if you're listening at Games for Less, I may be calling you soon
you
about
may just need to go
the
buy
new console,
another,
the new one. Yeah.
I was going to say, you'd have to do that. You're not going to. Don't fix the one you have.
No, absolutely not.
No.
The old 360s back in the day, my generation knows about this. The Red Ring of Death.
Oh, the Red Ring of Death.
And the 360s. Those things were pieces of crap.
My one and only dalliance into the world of the Xbox, because I'm a PS guy, I always have been, was the time that I suffered at the wrong end of the Red Ring of Death. I remember being so mad. I was like, well, this thing is garbage.
I think we went through 3 in undergrad. I mean, we played a lot, but I mean, still, let's go. I got 8 years out of this one, so they got better as time went on at the Xbox family.
It's a good run. Our thanks to Jameis Winston for joining us on the program today. If you guys missed that interview, it is available on Warchant.com or Warchant TV on YouTube. You can go find it and tweet all that out. Ira's got some stuff coming out here real soon from Amelia Island. That's why he couldn't join us today, so looking good there. For Tom, for Director Matthew, I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening, everybody.